Assalamu alaikum and a very good day to everyone watching. My name is Muhammad Amir Rizwan, and alongside my group mates, we'll be presenting on the topic that is pretty much familiar in the science community. The topic is GMO. Now, what does GMO stands for? For those of you who don't have a clue about GMOs, GMO is actually an abbreviation for genetically modified organisms. Makes sense, doesn't it? G is for genetically, M is for modified, and O is for organisms. But what exactly is a GMO? I mean, what constitutes a being or organism to be included in the list of GMOs ever created? For that, my friends, let me shed a light for you. So basically, GMOs are organisms created with the help of genetic engineering or transgenic technology, by means that we actually change how they look, behave, and among many other things, to benefit humankind. These new creations could help us survive and support the ever-growing human population by providing consistent food supplies all year long. This includes, but are not limited to, corns, cattle, chickens, goats, and sheep. But what of the history of GMO? Well, my friends, GMO starts in 1973 when two geniuses by the name of Herbert Boyer and Stanley Cohen engineered the first ever GMO by bestowing antibiotic resistance to a bacteria. Sounds amazing, doesn't it? But there's more. In 1974, in the following year, the two scientists by the name of Rudolf Jenisch and Beatrice Mintz practiced the same procedures but did it onto mice. Now that's one step forward. But that left people wondering, how far are we going to explore the vast unknown of the world of genetics that we may uncover the hidden demons there? Surely there needs to be a ruler or a guideline whatsoever that no one should ever cross. So in 1975, a conference known in history as the Asilama Conference gave birth to a newly established principles for researchers to create new GMOs. But now, my friend Mithran would like to share with you a lot the objectives of our research presentation.
Thank you, Amir. My name is Mitran and I'll be presenting about the objective of this research presentation. GMO has been shown how beneficial it is to humankind, and as this technology develops, we'll also be looking at how society has evolved thanks to this technology. Although we know how useful GMO technology is to us, there are still people who reject the use of this technology. So for this presentation, we'll be talking about the source of this resistance, and lastly, we'll be also debunking myths and clearing up any misunderstandings of this technology. Now I'll pass it to Amir to talk about the current state of our GMO.
Thank you so much, Mitran. So hello everyone, my name is Amir Sirajuddin bin Mahazir, and today I'm going to be explaining the opposition and the resistance and the current state of GMO in the whole world. So over the years, opposition against GMO are increasingly heightened as more and more people are questioning this technology. Some people even fear the concept and application of GMO. This is because people fear what they do not understand. Science is a complex and technical topic, so it might be difficult for those who are not familiar with the scientific terms to process it. Some people are also perceive GMOs as unnatural. People do not like the idea of transferring one gene to another for a greater good. When Mark Linus, who was a United Kingdom anti-GMO activist, changed sides, his colleagues and friends went wild as they trusted him. This proved that people will believe the person they are close with without any scientific explanation. Most people are unaware of GMO, and some of them didn't even think about it. If GMO products have labeling on them, they will not buy it as they have a psychological tendency in wanting natural food. People who oppose GMO, not necessarily those who have strong opinion about it, rather those who just thought it is unusual or just an additive. So now, I'll pass to you, Zach.
Thank you, Ame. I am Zawawi, and now I would like to talk about the examples of how GMOs play a role in sustainable development. Next. There are three types of application of GMOs, which are medicines, agriculture, and industry. For the medicines, the first one is the production of insulin for diabetics. As we know, insulin is used to regulate glucose levels in the bloodstream and induces glucose storage in the liver, muscles, and adipose tissue in the form of glycogen. So, for most diabetics pancreas, they cannot form enough insulin. By using some genetically modified bacteria that have had the human gene, we can produce insulin through recombinant DNA technology. Hence, we can produce insulin in a very large amount, lesser allergic reactions, and low cost. Next is the development of vaccines. For this, I would like to use AstraZeneca as an example. They use a viral vector approach where the scientists took an adenovirus, a type of pathogen that causes a common cold. The same spike protein genetic sequence is also used from the coronavirus. Therefore, the harmless protein can generate antibodies to fight against COVID-19 in the future. For the agriculture field, the first one is the modification of corn genes to protect from pests. It is made by selecting the gene for a bacterium Bacillus thuringiensis toxin and insert it into the cell of corn or cotton plant at the embryo stage. The toxin in corn can kill the larva of the European corn. In agriculture, they also make removal of softening genes in tomatoes. The flavor saver tomato was developed through the use of antisense RNA to regulate the expression of the enzyme polygalacturonase (PG) in ripening tomato fruit. This enzyme is one of the most abundant proteins in ripe tomato fruit and has long been thought to be responsible for softening in ripe tomatoes. As a result, we can get tomatoes remain firm longer. Under the industrial field, GMO is also involved in recovery of heavy metals from wastewater. Wastewater, often contaminated with heavy metal ions, they pose hazards to humans and environmental health. Conventional technologies to remove heavy metal ions are well established. However, most of these techniques are expensive, generate new waste, and focus solely on metal removal instead of metal recovery. By using GMO, it permits revamping microbial scavengers for the removal of hazardous pollutants without affecting nature, and the cost is lower. Now, I would like to pass to Najmina to continue the presentation.
Okay, thank you, Zawawi. I'm Najmina and I will be presenting about benefits of GMO. GMO will stand for genetic modified organism benefit three parties. The first one is scientists, secondly is agriculture industries, followed by society. For the scientists, they can create something beneficial for the other people and get well known in their industry. Furthermore, they also can gain respect from the other people such as their co-workers or from the society. The second party is agriculture industries. This party can split into two aspects which are environmental aspect and economic aspect. For environmental aspect, GMO can improve air quality and reduce the environmental impact of farming. This is because farming in particular releases significant amount of methane and nitrous oxide, which are two powerful greenhouse gases. From this, GMO also can reduce the probability of global warming. Second aspect is economy. Agriculture industry can save their money from buying pesticides since GMO is well known for their pest resistance. Since farmers did not use any of pesticide on their crops, they also can improve the availability and quality of the food. Furthermore, farmers also can make more profit if they use this GMO technology since high production of crops will be yield. Okay, last but not least, the third party is society. Society can have healthy body and higher resistance to the diseases since the food that they consume did not use any of pesticides. Pesticide is bad for our body and health and also have been implicated in human studies such as leukemia, lymphoma, and also cancers. Last but not least, society can improve their quality of life since GMO enhance nutrient composition or also quality of the food. Okay, that's all from me. Then I will pass this presentation to Jana.
Thank you, Najmina. My name is Siti Nurjana and I will present about the implementation of GMO. There are three challenges that have been listed out, which are genetic contamination, impossibility to follow up, and ethical concerns. For the first point, genetic contamination, GMOs that have been introduced may interbreed with wild type or sexually compatible relatives, unless it confers a selective advantages to the recipient. The novel trait may disappear in wild types. However, wild types' tolerant abilities may develop, altering the native species' ecological relationship and behavior. Next, impossibility to follow up. Once GMO are introduced to the environment and cause problems, they are impossible to remove. Many of these risks are the same as those associated with the introduction of naturally or conventional bred species. However, this does not imply that GMOs are safe or beneficial, nor does it suggest that they should be less scrutinized. Last but not least, ethical concerns when GMO promote the development of resistant insect pests and weeds. For example, long-term use of herbicides such as glyphosate and glufosinate in Bt crops may promote the development of resistant insect pests and weeds. In 2003, the Royal Society published the findings of extensive farm-scale assessments of the impacts of transgenic HT maize, spring oilseed rape, canola, and sugar beet on biodiversity in the United Kingdom. These studies discovered that even when compared to conventional cropping practices, the main effect of these crops was on wheat vegetation with subsequent effects on herbivores, pollinators, and other populations that feed on it. These groups were negatively affected by transgenic HT sugar beet, positively affected by HT Myza, and had no effect on the spring oilseed rape. There is, however, insufficient evidence to predict the long-term effects of transgenic HT crops on wheat population and associated in crop biodiversity. That's all from me. I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jana. So, I think you guys must be wondering, so what's next for GMO? So, ladies and gentlemen, the future of GMOs is very bright. In the future, GMO crops are able to have lower cost production, and the implementation of biofactories will help with the production of important pharmaceuticals medicines. Other than that, for food industry, also will be affected positively, as somewhere in the future we will be able to control the cost contamination of GMO and make it a lot safer. We also can clear up some negative perception about GMO and get rid of the fear. Lastly, with better crops, higher quality and higher yield, this can help us in fighting the global starvation, as we will have enough food to cater the increasing number of people in the future. So now I will pass to Mitran to sum our presentation.
Thank you. Now I'll finish up this presentation by talking about the conclusion. As a society, we need to be able to see and recognize which technology will benefit us in the long run. Our population will continue to grow, and GMO tech will help solve more issues to come. We need to be able to clear up misunderstanding, mistrust, and misinterpretation of this technology, as they play a crucial role in a society that constantly evolves, which needs new needs, and that breeds more problems. For example, as our population grows, we'll need to be able to have more food. And GM crops are a solution to that, as they yield twice of its original products, enabling us to keep up with our ever-growing need of food. Countries should recognize the benefits and promote the usage and buying of these GMO products without banning them. The government should allow more clinical trials for GMO to promote the development of this technology. Thank you.